All right, so we have our swatch here where we have bound on. We have worked garter stitch, knitting every stitch. We've worked stockinette, knitting one row and purling the next. And we have worked more garter stitch by purling every row. What we're going to learn now is how to bind off. So you're going to take your knitting, and just like you would knit, you're going to put your needle from the front to the back. You're going to wrap that stitch, pull it through and slide it off. And all you've done is knit a stitch. You're going to go into that second stitch, wrap. So now you've knit 2 stitches. You're going to take your left-hand needle, insert it into that first stitch on your needle, and you want to pull that over and off. So you're down to 1 stitch on the needle. Knit the next stitch on your needle. Again, wrap it, pull it off. Once again, you have 2 stitches here. Take that, what is now the first stitch, pull it over that second stitch, and slide it off the needle. Binding off is something where you really want to be careful to make sure that these loops are nice and loose. And I'll show you why in a minute. So again, you're going to knit the next stitch, slide that over and off. Let's do one more and I'll show you what's happening. So you're going to knit, take that stitch over and off. And you can see those knit stitches are creating this nice, tidy little braid that goes across your work. And because you're working loosely, you're not pulling or bunching your work in. It's really, really easy to bind off too tightly. It's probably one of the most common issues. So take a breath, try to relax. It's not a wrestling match with your yarn, and you will have a nice loose edge. So let's keep doing this. Knit a stitch, pull it off, pull it over, knit another stitch, pull it off, pull it over, and just do that all the way down the row until your last stitch. Pull that first stitch over the second stitch, knit another stitch, pull that over, again, you're down to your last couple of stitches. Bind that off, very last stitch, pull that off. You no longer need that, well actually you do need the needle because you're going to hook that stitch over. Now you're down to 1 stitch on the needle. Put your needle aside. You have that loop. You want to take a pair of scissors, cut your yarn, pull your needle out and just take that end of yarn, pull it through, and snug it up. So there is your bound off edge. It created this really, really nice, neat braided row. And because you bound off loosely, this bound off row is going to stretch as much as your knitted piece, and it will also stretch as much as your cast on row. So you're not going to get weird bunching or tension. It will be just very even, very smooth fabric, and that is how you bind off.